as I did when I started my my current startup. I have kept that going. If you have a job, if you are able to start your business with a job, keep that going until the business is profitable. And the reason I say that is because you have to be very aware that venture capitalists are funding your business, investors are funding your business for the purpose of making profit. And venture capitalists have to be very careful about their investments because 4 out of 5 businesses fail. That's just global. And so out of those 4 that fail, venture capitalists have to make sure that the one they fund that becomes successful, that they are extremely aggressive about their investments to make sure that they make up for the 4 that are going to fail. And so if you're that one successful business, you better know that venture capital is making sure that they get the most out of you. And so push accepting funding as far as you can. I recently spoke to a venture capitalist who um, told me that he's really conflicted because he used to be a founder, and now that he's in the capitalist world, he recognizes that the primary purpose of venture capital is making money, and they are vultures about it. So you can call them venture capitalists or vulture capitalists. And he said he's genuinely conflicted morally and ethically because the aggressiveness with which they have to approach businesses. And so if you have a startup, push accepting any venture capital funding as much as you can. And if you don't have to accept it, do not. If you can be profitable and fund your business and grow slowly. I have a carpet cleaner who cleaned for me and once told me that the people he had started business with 20 years ago, around 2000, many of them have not stayed. And he said the reason for that is because many of them became quite big and they got many massive contracts. And eventually, because of not being able to keep up with contracts, because workers call out sick sometimes and all kinds of stuff, you start to lose customers and you have a big payroll to maintain. And so he said to me that the reason he had managed to stay in business is because he managed his growth. He didn't just accept growing. So I don't want to keep going too long because I think that today's meeting is really about planning the forum for January. And so in January, what I would like or what I would commit to do is bringing on speakers that can speak to some of these things about entrepreneurship, about funding, about venture capital, and also speak to people who have had experience with venture capital. And so that is what I would commit to be doing, such that at the forum you can hear from more than just myself. If there's still time to keep going, let me know, but I can stop there. Thank you. Or
Thank you,
if there are
Karanja.
questions, I can also answer.
Thank you, Karanja. That was very informative. And if you don't take anything home from this, take one thing. When you're looking for funding, be clever about it. Right, Karanja?
Absolutely. And watch the story about the WhatsApp founders. The reason that WhatsApp was bought for 19 billion is because WhatsApp essentially refused to accept any funding. And by the time they were being offered $19 billion for a company that had only made $1 million in revenue, not in profits, in revenue, um, so many people had offered them money and they had kept refusing to the point that Facebook had no choice but to make them an offer that they could not refuse.
Correct. If you have any questions, thank you, Karanja. If you have any questions, drop them on the chat below. And then kindly see what Wangeshi has written. We want to know something extra about you so that when we start the networking, we have something to start with. For the next speakers, I'd like to welcome Brandon and Harriet. Brandon and Harriet, the floor is yours. 5 minutes.
Thank you so much. I apparently have an issue with my camera. I won't be able to share my screen, my face. I mean, hope you're all doing great. First of all, my name is Brandon Opere. I'm a software engineer with a background in software. I'm also a technical instructor and a founder of TechOps. TechOps is basically just a tech community that focuses on upskilling and enhancing people to at least ensure that they get to upskill their skills in tech. So one of the main things that I'm supposed to talk about today is, I think, tech ecosystem, if I'm not wrong, Wangeshi.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So that was quite an interesting topic on my end, because that's where I actually at the moment, and there's a lot that I've been getting from people, a lot of questions, especially when it comes to finding how a space where you can be able to niche in as you're growing in the industry. And in Kenya, especially, there's been a lot, especially when trying to find youth getting into tech. And there's been that need to create a lot of tech communities, especially in to help people to upskill every single day. And these tech communities have been very, very helpful in ensuring that people are able to understand, first of all, how can they be able to really enhance their skills, and what is in for them at the end of the day. So there's this aspect, first of all, of trying to understand where you have to fall, especially um, you have to first of all understand your frameworks. Which kind of frameworks do you really need to focus on? And before you even get there, you have to understand: do you want to become a data scientist, a data analyst? Do you want to become a software engineer? Do you want to do you want to get into cybersecurity? And we also have other roles in tech like DevOps. We also have developer relations. These are just people who focus mostly on tech communities. So there's quite a lot of roles for you if you really want to get into tech. And I know there's always that notion of you have to start coding for you to be able to be recognized as one person in tech. That is not always the case. There are other people who are designers. They focus mostly on UI UX design. So that is also something that you can try to venture into. I understand the issue is always trying to break into tech, but once you've been able to find your first role, the other things just start flowing, because you find as long as you're building projects and you get to satisfy your clients, at the end of the day, they'll be able to refer you to more and more clients. And that is how you'll be able to start growing up in the tech industry. Apart from that, you realize that in various educational institutes, especially here in Kenya, these tech communities always try as much as they can to go to these institutions and teach learners how they can be able to upskill. Well, in most institutions in the country, realize that they don't always teach students what they're supposed to learn in the industry. They're always mostly taught just the theoretical aspect of things. So you find that they always find it so hard for them to be able to fit in the job market at the end of the day. So this is now where the need of coming up with tech communities really started from. And currently we have lots of them. In Kenya, we have Google Developer Student Club coming in to help people a lot. We have Microsoft Learn Ambassadors and also other tech communities. And also you find students coming up with their own tech communities, which have been very, very helpful at the end of the day. So these are just one of the best places to find yourselves into. And I came to realize even graduates who have graduated with good certifications in various courses still find it so hard for them to be able to fit in this, in this market, So there's that aspect of just upscaling, and upscaling starts from you identifying yourself with a specific kind of community, and you can be able to first of all understand: do I want to become a software developer? Do you want to become a data scientist? Then identify people who do that thing. And there are various frameworks actually. In software, we have various of them. In backend, we have people who deal with Django, not JS. In the front end, we have other people who just focus on the user interface. We also have guys in data who just focus on analyzing data. So you have to be able to understand where your passion really lies and focus yourself on that. then join these tech communities, find a mentor, start building yourself through the process. And once you start feeling like you can be able to build projects, start participating in open source projects too. There are quite a lot of them on GitHub. We also have a lot of tech communities on Twitter that you can be able to join to just upskill as you're continuing your journey in tech, you know. And the end game always is to ensure that you get to upskill at the end of the day, get a role that you've always wanted. And networking is also something that we always tend to miss. You find that you go to an event, but you don't end up interacting with people. You might be so skilled at what you're doing, but when you don't reach out to people to talk to them about what you're actually doing, it becomes a challenge to really find a role. I remember last week when I was interacting in the WhatsApp platform about testing and stuff. My friend Mr. Karanja just joined, got into my inbox, and we had a little chat, and I found some contract there. If at all I would not have reached out, it would have been a problem at the end of the day. So remember, in as much as you have to build projects, you have to upskill and stuff, ensure that you also cultivate soft skills. You get to know how to talk to people, you get to know how to sell yourself. And that is one thing that will really put you far much ahead in your career when you're getting into tech. Yep. I think that is what I really wanted to share. Very, very important. And at the end of the day, Kenya is our space. We need to really invest in the country. So coming up with tech hubs is one thing that we are really focused on at the moment. Tech hubs that are focused on research. Currently, we're using a lot of social media platforms for countries which are abroad, and we were trying to have a challenge. I remember uh, sometime back when we attended Safaricom Engineering Summit, we had a conversation with um, Mr. George. Mr. George was telling us, why don't we have our own social media platforms here in the country? Why don't we have our own research hubs here in the country? Why don't we invest in the skills that are here in Kenya, instead of doing it from outside the country? Because you find both these countries from abroad come to invest a lot here in the country. And it's so surprising because they get a lot of talents from here and they go with them outside there. So in a way, it feels like Kenya doesn't have enough talent. But in real sense, we have a lot of amazing talents. When you get to join this tech community, you'll be so surprised at how amazing Kenya is when it comes to tech and other stuffs. And that's one thing that I really wanted to put into consideration because we have amazing people here, especially students who are still in campus, and even others who are still trying to upskill. They're smart. All they don't have is maybe a direction, but that is not where we chip in with our communities and stuff. Yep. Thank you so much for that. That was it for now. If there's any question or if you feel like I need to continue the conversation, I'm open. And yep.
Okay, thank you very much, Brandon. Takeaway points: network, know what your passion is, and go for it. Thank you, Brandon. I can see Karanja is answering questions on the chat. Please keep sending them. Also, if you have questions for Brandon, keep sending them. He'll answer them on the chat. I think we'll go back to our earlier speakers, Frida and Wangeshi. You can take over the forum as you do your networking session.
All right, thank you very much. I appreciate it. So we're just going to begin by calling out a couple of answers that we've seen on the chat. So Mark Njoroge has added that he cannot live without his laptop. He cannot, the tech trend that he is particularly excited about is drones and AI. So the question I would have for you is, when it comes to drones, what do you think about the Kenyan landscape with, I know there are currently very many limitations and restrictions about how to use drones in the airspace, and it's already such a hassle to do that. So what do you think about that? And it comes to AI, what do you think we should integrate inside? How would you like to integrate it within your part? Like, what more would you like it to do for you? Mark, if you wouldn't mind, I'd appreciate.
Okay. Was that meant for me?
Mark Njoroge, yes.
Okay.
All right, but Mark, you can answer too. Please go ahead. I know you have some answers.
I would let this pass, but I know there are great people here. Shiko is here. Shiko, can you hear me? Shiko.
Hey, Mark, is it okay to stop the sharing because we have the agenda? At least we get to see each other and network. I think that's just a suggestion I have.
No problem.
Okay.
And can you answer the question then?
Thanks, Elvis.
Okay, go ahead.
I won't be able to answer that because I had a challenge. I just flew to Kenya the other day, and I had a drone that I wanted to use. I couldn't bring it. So I need some answers from boots on the ground. Yeah.
Can I chime in on that?
Sure, yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, so I think we have regulations that was passed, I think, was it this year, around March, on how to the regulation by the KCA. So they categorized the drones that we use just for is under the lower risk. So what you need is just to get a certificate from them and explain the operations, and you'll be able to be good and go. And also, if it's Nairobi, I think Governor Sakaja has also put a framework for the film industry on how they can use their drones to do the operation. So it's about just getting the certificate, but the regulations actually they're out there already. Thank you.
Can you get that online, or you have to? How do you get the certificate? And are there requirements like you gotta get it way ahead of time before you travel, for example?
Yes, I'll try to grab the website for you, but I know it's there.
Okay, so I'm just going to pop in because we have a time limitation and I'd like one other person to give us an answer. However, Danson and Elvis, you can continue to connect on the chat and kind of, engage to get more information, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
So I just would like one other participant. If you'd like, this is a forum. You have the next 30 seconds, 15 seconds to speak and say your answer, introduce yourself. But if not, then we can move on. So I'll just ask for a 5-second break to find out. Digital Humanitarian, welcome. Hello.
On mute. You're on mute.
Sorry for that. My name is Odhiambo Gola, the Digital Humanitarian, and I really love this forum because it kind of gives me the balance which I have coming from Kenya, where for the last 2 decades I've been on the digital frontline in various fronts, supporting the country on the digital space. And I'm really keen to see the kind of solutions or ideas, if they can also include emergency response, also include historical archival. And I'm also looking at how, with my experience, especially on the emergency response, disaster preparedness, how can I also input some of the ideas here to include on solutions we can bring back to. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much. We can continue with the agenda and then we'll have another session after the speaker.
Thank you, Wangeshi, for that.
Oh, okay. Then Shiko wanted to say something.
Oh, go ahead, Shiko. My apologies. Go ahead, please.
No. Did I? Mark is just throwing me under the bus. I was just listening and I was just posting links for the.
But please let us hear your voice. Thank you. Say something.
I have sent you the drone regulations on the chat and I put it on the group. I'm not sure what I was supposed to say. But I'm in Kenya. I'm actually in the village, so you can hear cows and stuff. But I mean, I operate from Kenya. I'm one of those people who decided to come back home, even if it was a rubble, and stay here. So I think what I had talked to Mark about, he asked me what I want to say, and I say, if you're out there, try and come back home, not come back home, invest back home. I'm one of those people who is encouraging people. It would be unfair for me to say don't work outside. I worked there, got my thing sharpened, my skills sharpened. I say my sword sharpened, and I'm coming back home. I came back home to practice some of that. But the biggest thing I've learned is there's lots of potential, but potential will remain potential if you're not investing in it. And you guys can do it. I was telling Mark, there's too much diaspora real estate here. Like every corner, there's a diaspora person building like a flat or something, but there's little investment in that is going to young people, and they don't need a lot of money. Something as low as 5K USD can help like a small business, not necessarily in tech, but a small business start piloting, get a product market fit, and go to market and start testing it. Because we have so many opportunities, just needs a lot of money. I think at the very beginning of the group, the WhatsApp group, there was a nice conversation that I joined that was looking at how do you gang up together and create a diaspora fund, that can invest back home. And that is something that can be done. I can connect you with like people who are organizing angel investors, and you can have a diaspora fund. The PS yesterday was talking about the same thing. And I mean, the PS is super supportive of having you remit, not just to buy real estate or to support family, which is all important, but you being able to grow the economy. And this is something that can be supported both from a private sector point of view and from a government point of view. And number 3 for me is bringing jobs back home. All of you are in great places that you're working. You're working with good companies, even if it's a small company where somebody needs a social media manager, they need, like I was hearing DevOps, they need like a support engineer, they need call center agents. If we aggregated each of your jobs into a platform, into a place, then guess what? We'll have enough jobs that we can send back home. So I was hearing somebody talking about tech hubs. We are working on, like yesterday, on Wednesday, we launched a tech hub with our first cohort of 60 people who are being employed. And because we have a team out in Silicon Valley who are helping us aggregate and find jobs, it is a matter of coming together, knocking doors, talking to your startup friends, talking to your bosses, and saying, you're building the social, what is it called? The social impact part of your company, as well as building resources back home. Because for every dollar that you are putting in employment, it's $1 less that you have to send to support somebody, pay school fees, to support somebody, pay for medical services, to support something else. So for me, I feel like the biggest challenge I've been telling people, and I mean, I come to the US maybe 4 times a year. The biggest support the biggest challenge I give to young people and the people, especially in the US, is go find jobs, send back. You have much more impact than sending $1, because you'll be sending $3 or $4 or $5 an hour, which is a huge impact to the person who is receiving that money on this end. And right now, there are structures already in place and are being put in place to be able to encourage that. Finally, buy Kenya, build Kenya. There are lots of startups that actually being built here in Kenya. I mean, I'm part of this, the big Silicon Savannah conversation. I've been part of like that for a while now. What we need to do is have you in the US start adapting some of our technologies. So I'm going to plug in, I don't know if he's here. If you need, like, if you have a small business in Kenya and you want to put like support, what is it called, customer support, there are businesses here who are doing, instead of going for, I'm not going to mention any of the companies in case you work for them, any of the big companies. Why don't you take one of these companies that are building for Kenya, and your small business in Kenya or in Africa somewhere can use any of this chat support, and your hustle can be you're selling shoes and handbags and you need somebody on the other side to be able to responding. They have automated this whole process, and I'm going to post their details in the group, something like that. Or if you want, I'm trying to think, if you want a remittance product for your company or something else, pick a Kenyan and an African product that is going to do that, because that way you're building the continent. And finally, and this is to all the PhDs, because I've met many of you here, is you need to start mentoring and coaching back home. So right now, I had somebody, I know George very well. I used to work for Safaricom at some point, asking about setting up research lab. We are setting up. We have, like, it's in very stealth mode. research lab for AI. We are looking for Africans who are able to contribute knowledge in building it up, because we know if we start, the moment you start fundraising for an AI lab, you'll get the money, but will your message be what you want to do? It will be highly diluted. We need people who will be able to offer their time to be able to contribute to these conversations that at some point have money, but we need it not to be diluted by the person who is funding. So for me, that's it. Thank you so much for having me. And if you're in Kenya, ping me. We'd have coffee, and I mean, it's really exciting to be part of this committee. Thank you so much, Mark, for having me as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Because of time, Grace, I think we stole your time. I think you may want to introduce the next speaker. And I think we passed one person called Hemstone. Is he here? Hemstone, are you here? If he's not, then Grace, proceed.
Okay. Thank you, Shiko, for that. It's interesting to know that AI will be African and it won't have biases against Africans because we will train it in our data. That's good. So attached to that is training and skill development. Is Mursi and Ombasa around? You can take the floor and let us know more about that.
Grace, sorry, you're skipping one person. So there was this Harriet. Yeah, I think before then there's Harriet. Is it Harriet or Harriet?
Okay.
Is she here?
Harriet?
Brandon and Harriet.
Yes.
Harriet?
Oh, hi, everyone.
Hey.
My name is Harriet Oduma. I'm a blockchain engineer as well. I'm a co-founder of Blockchain Academy. It's a blockchain tech startup that focuses on building capacity in blockchain and also building solutions, Web3 solutions that run on top of blockchain. So I was supposed to talk about the tech ecosystem, Just to start, most of the things have already been said by my colleague Brandon. I would just like to brush through by saying that tech ecosystem has majorly three players. You'll always find the end users, the enthusiasts, and the designers. The designers Brandon talked about at length when he mentioned about the engineers, the back end, the front end, the DevOps. Those fall under the designers. Then we always have the end users, where most of us at some point we've been end users of some software products. So end users we can relate with. Then the enthusiasts are the mediators in between here that seal the bridge between the designers and the end users. They make the designers understand the needs of the end users, and vice versa is also true. So talking about tech, we can also look, I just want to remind my listeners about, let's look at Kenya like 30 years ago, in the early 90s, when the Cold War had just come to an end in the West, and people are looking forward to welcoming the millennium. But lo and behold, that is the first time the internet, the iteration of the internet came in, and that was the Web 1 of the internet. So at that point, the internet, if we remember so well, the web was not interactive. It was just the kind of web that you could just access and read materials, but you could do nothing much to it. And that flew from around 1991 to 2004. Then thereafter, we had the Web 2, which is the social and the iterative web platform, which we have up to right now, where the players can be anybody. You don't have to be a tech person to be a player in the iteration of Web 2, the iteration of the internet, which is the Web 2. You don't have to be a technical person. That means that is something that we are seeing even today. We can see our users, people accessing the internet. You can write an email, you can read from it, you can write. We have the content creators. Then we have the Web 3 now that comes into play, that is just being introduced currently, that also enhances the feature of data privacy and security. That one is powered by the blockchain technology. So maybe we can ask ourselves, is tech ecosystem really worth it? I would say that the tech ecosystem is worth it. Look at the internet. Internet in itself contributes to about 7% of the GDP of Kenya. So there is so much hope in the technology economy. Also, besides that, with the fourth industrial revolution, whereby we are digitalizing the manufacturing sector, we realize that currently what happens is that Kenya exports about just 3% of whatever Kenya exports, 3% is just worth whatever has been manufactured as software products. So that tells us again there is so much room for improvement around that area. Talking about the incubators, we didn't emphasize so much on that. Incubators help entrepreneurs to find a journey in their startups to be successful. Most of the incubators will run with a startup for some length of time, say between 6 months to 12 months. And also the incubators, most of them, in most cases, incubators don't invest any capital in the startup. What they do is just that they give the mentorship program, the upskilling, and they walk you through the journey. That means also in return, they will not be expecting any equity from your startup because they have not invested some capital on it. Finally, I would just like to mention something brief about the digital hubs. Digital hubs comes in different shapes. As I understand, I've been in the space for a little while. Currently, like let's say in the software, for the software developers, the hub are relevant because they provide the kind of skills that you will not find in the universities. For example, you have the upskilling, you have the mentorship, you have the job opportunities, and these are geared so much. You find that a group of companies would bring together synergy in the logic of knowledge transfer, developing, training, and also building capacity. So in such an aspect of those hubs, they come in form of things like boot camps and hackathons, where you have the opportunity to participate in such events. And we have seen so many talents have been born from boot camps, from hackathons. Even startups have been started from those boot camps and hackathons. Those are things that you cannot find in the learning institutions. So then we have the other hub that currently the Ministry of ICT through the ICT Authority is also issuing. Like you go at the constituency levels, we realize that there are hubs, the kind of hubs where you walk, anyone can walk in, you access internet for free, and then there are center managers there who can help you to get some training online. They can assist you with those hands-on. And then there is the other hub still being supplied by the ICT Authority through the Ministry of ICT, where now the Wi-Fi hotspots are being created in random places. We have seen the CS for ICT do that. So just to summarize on that is to say that there is a lot of room and a lot of opportunities in the tech space, only that you need to find your niche and align yourself to your niche. Being in the tech space doesn't mean everybody has to be a software engineer. Just find your niche and run with it. Thank you.
Thank you, Harriet. One takeaway from that is you're the niche. Don't look at what someone else is doing. Just get your niche and go with it. Thank you, Harriet, for that. We'll go on to Ombasa. Is Ombasa in or Mursi? I hope I'm pronouncing that properly. Mursi.
Yes.
Yeah, you did. It's Mursi and Ombasa. So I'm not sure
Okay,
whether both of them are here or just one.
Dr. Morsi,
I
we
am
agree.
here.
Dr. Morsi can proceed. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, just a minute. Okay. Good morning, good evening, everyone. So welcome again to this forum. My name is Dr. Mursi. I am a training and research lead at a startup in Nairobi. We call it Wazo Lab. I am also the coordinator of Sevenett Nairobi campus. And I also presently lecture business analytics at USIU. And also some have talked about mentorship. I am passionate also about mentorship and currently do mentorship with our Nimebora leadership program. These are my research interests as NLP, FinTech, and also generative AI. My BAD was from UK Sevenett. So for today, basically for the next 3 or 4 minutes, I'm going to talk about training and skill development, which will also try to link with Sevenett. We are basically at Sevenett. We're just trying to bridge the gap. We are just trying to bridge the gap for Africans through upskilling for our programs, where presently we are just trying to focus on building that capacity in terms of data analytics. So when we talk about data analytics and even the current training landscape, so we've got what we are calling it micro-credentials and stackable certifications. So there is now a present shift from long-term degrees to now more focused skills and also certifications. We've got people focusing on, for example, cloud certification lines, for example, AWS, Python for data science, Azure, etc. And then also there's also the aspect of trying to combine these micro credentials so that now we can be able to build a broader skill set. So even whether you are in tech or when you are a beginner, even going forward, even with the progress as more people even shift to cloud, it's also good to be able to not only even what I normally tell my students, yes, focus on that degree, but also look for t-shirt certifications that actually prepare you for the industry. Another trend we are actually seeing is what we are calling it personalized learning and adaptive platforms. So we'll find, for example, someone has been in finance, but now they want, for example, to switch to AI, to switch, for example, analytics. So be able to find now some platforms to be able to recommend learning paths based on, for example, individual skills. So for those who've learned either through EDX or, for example, DataCamp, you'll be able to see them having different tracks. So based on your interest, they'll be able to recommend for you personalized learning and even adaptive platforms. And then another thing also is emphasis on hands-on and learning projects. For the data science interviews I've been able to do before, and even what I normally subject to my students and even our current event training at Sevenett is emphasis on practical application. Can you be able to tell us your data story from your data collection? How are you able to solve this problem, etc. Because especially that's actually what employers are actually looking for. They'll be able to ask you, for example, what is your GitHub portfolio? This project, why did you choose, for example, this approach? Why not this approach? So that's presently the current trend again in data science training and even the current landscape. And then also the aspect of collaboration. Presently, even in the industry, even in academia, you cannot be able to work individually. So we also want to be able to have people who can work in a team. So in the project you are showcasing, in your portfolio, who did you work with? What was your role? What was your contribution? And then the other thing we are calling it emerging skill focus. So in this case, demand for skills in cutting edge areas like ML, NLP, edge computing, explainable AI, etc. And then now there's the aspect of domain specific knowledge. Yes, there is AI. Yes, there is machine learning, but we can also not downplay the importance of domain knowledge. When we talk about domain knowledge, let's say, for example, you are in finance. Yes, I'm coming from a technical background as a machine learning researcher, etc. But as an accountant, you still have that domain knowledge from your IFRS, from your accounts, from your CPA. So yes, there is AI, but at the end of the day, also there is still a place and even importance for domain knowledge. And then the other thing is accessible and flexible learning. So in this case, there's been even university right now, there has been rise of online and blended learning. So they reach to students who are present physically, but also those who may not be able to access the classes physically. And then the aspect also of soft skills. As I earlier talked about the projects and even portfolios. Those portfolios and also the projects, when for example, assessing the students and even also in the industry, employers would want to know, would want to also to be able to find out how are your soft skills, how can you be able to communicate. Yes, you are able to code this project from A to Z, but can you be able to be able to convince non-technical audience? Can you be able to critically think? Can you be able to tell your story well? So presently, these are some of the what's happening basically in data science and even in the current training landscape. And then now alternative learning providers is no longer only the university only, but also we have various organizations and even organizations actually signing up on various platforms. In fact, I was surprised, I don't know if I should mention, but one of the leading telco companies here in Kenya actually signing up an organization, I think is in India, so that now their staff can actually be able to learn Python, can actually be able to learn R online. Yeah, those are actually some of the things Kenyan companies and as about we can actually be able to do easily. But now we still have organizations collaborating with other companies so that they can be able to build the capacity for even their employees. The next thing I want to mention is despite increase in these online platforms, there is still the importance of instructor-led learning. Yes, we have MOOCs, yes, we have EDX, yes, we have Coursera, but at the end of the day, we cannot also downplay the aspect of instructor-led learning. Basically, instructor-led learning is where, like a session like this, a student has to be able to attend class, either physical or online, so that they can actually be taught. So some of the importance of this is that aspect of personal guidance. During mostly in online platforms, you may be able maybe experience a challenge and you may not be able to have that direct question where you can be able to ask your lecturer. So that's why there's still that value of instructor-led learning. And then also just ability to be able to interact and even engage with your colleagues in class. And then the aspect of critical skills where now with the instructors can actually be able to bring that theoretical knowledge and then now practical application through real world case studies. Like what we are currently doing both in our data analytics bootcamp, we actually try to be able to relate each and every problem to what is actually happening in the industry. And of course, the aspect of accountability and then also access to experts and also industry connections. Our instructors, both are experts both in academia and then also in the industry. So I am a great advocate of instructor-led learning, either online and then also either physically. And then basically in the regional tech ecosystem, there is rise in data engineering skills in cloud platforms, AWS and Azure. So if you are planning to go into tech, these are some of the things you should actually focus on certifications along this angle, maybe based on your interest. And then also if you are also interested in AI, you also have to be able to not only just train your models, but also be able to deploy them. But at the end of the day, considering the aspects of ethics. I've mentioned the aspect of storytelling and data visualization. We are training on both Tableau and Power BI. Python and R has also visualization tools, but at the end of the day, you have to be able to communicate those data insights well, either through compelling visuals and then also the narratives. I still insist on domain-specific knowledge. I may not be in healthcare, but someone in healthcare, but now with tech knowledge would actually be able to explain better, for example, the prevalence of this disease, maybe in finance, the trends, why the budgets are not working, etc. So that's basically what's also happening within the tech ecosystem. Emerging skills, NLP, natural language processing, with the increase in unstructured data now with social media. There's a lot of data that now we have to be able to.
I think we've lost Dr. Morsi.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Ombasa, you can take over.
Yes. Hello, everybody. I think we have just lost Dr. Musi, who is my colleague at Sevenett. And basically what Dr. Musi was taking us through was the program, part of the program that we have at Sevenett. My name is Eric Kombasa. So I'm faculty. I'm part of the faculty at Sevenett, where we have developed the data and analytics training program, where we're training various cohorts on various what you call data analysis and data analytics for various sectors, whether it is healthcare, financial, and so on and so forth. And part of the training or training emphasis and skill acquisitions that basically we are emphasizing on is what you call project-based learning, where we're not just providing what you call theoretical skills. Like, for example, when you do this data analytics using these various softwares, such as Power BI, even Excel, Tableau, and so on and so forth, we are developing what you call project-based, I can see Dr. Musi is back, project-based learning, where the cohorts are actually now acquiring essential or critical data analytics skills across various, across various softwares or across various data analytics softwares. Dr. Musi is back. I don't know. Do you want to proceed, Dr. Musi?
So just to connect with, just sorry about that. So to connect with what Eric is saying, these are some of the tools we are currently training on with both R and also machine learning. So we are focusing this both in the US cohort, but also for Nairobi students. And in the previous slide, so for this year, we've done two successful cohorts. In Nairobi, we are also finalizing the first one. Basically, our main aim is to be able to bridge that gap, to be able to build that capacity. Yes, there may be other institutions, but there is a lot for each and every one of us to be able to contribute in even be able to build capacity. Because all of us, even in each and every organization, even in this session, we are generating a lot of data, and so we are trying to be able to build individuals' capacity to be able to actually even interpret that data. And then lastly, Shiko mentioned about the aspect of research. I am an ardent believer in research. I believe for academia and industry, there should be actually strong collaboration in terms of research, because we can only be able to solve solutions that actually affects us through research. In academia, industry can be able to partner with academia, because in academia, we have that time to do research, and then now industry can actually be able to try to apply that. So presently, I am working on research in both NLP and as even as I had earlier said. So if you are a student and interested in AI, we have great instructors, mentors, and some of the team members who are here. Please feel free to reach out at Sevenett, and then we can be able to talk. Either you are in Nairobi or outside Nairobi, please feel free to reach us. So as I conclude, I'll ask these two questions, and then maybe Wangeshi can come in later. So first, what are your biggest challenges or pain points when it comes to acquiring data analytics skills? And then the other one is, what are actually your preferred learning formats for acquiring these new skills? Is it instructor-led? Is it online? Is it mentorship? Or is it where you are able to learn by yourself? Yeah, so thank you so much. That's it from our end, Grace. In case of any questions, we are here to answer. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Mursi, for that. I can see there's some questions in the chat. You can answer them via chat. Due to time, I'd like to invite Frida to handle the topic on networking, collaboration, and knowledge exchange. Karibu, Frida.
Thank you so much, Grace and Dr. Musi. That was wonderful. So I've been going through the responses for the questions that some of you have chosen to answer, and it's very interesting because it's all mostly focusing on fintech. And I was wondering whether do we have any resources or connections or contacts for networking resources and sharing resources to people who want to be or were interested in fintech. I know someone shared that their proudest product was the on-demand insurance
for tourism, and I would like them to talk more about that.
Do you remember who said it?
Seems like they just left.
Okay. So we can just proceed because of time. Would you want to address that later, or what do you think?
I think that if anyone has resources for fintech, you can just take 35 seconds and share those.
Just a question. What do you mean by resources in fintech?
So one wants to interested in joining financial technologies and learning more about financial technology. So it's a recurring question that has no clarification whatsoever. So that's why I would have wanted the person to be able to share so that we can know what really they need, and then we can help them get those resources.
Okay, maybe we still here can clarify.
Yeah, and I can just chime in quickly to say, as I said earlier, my background was primarily on Wall Street, and I started out in straight finance, but I ended up in the project space, which is where they build their internal technologies. And I do not have a tech background, but I found myself working in the tech space, where what I guess technologists don't like to refer to us as tech. So they refer to us as adjacent, which is as a business analyst. And it's one of the highest sought after positions in finance in particular, because it's extremely important to be able to translate what the business does to technology. It's very lucrative, high paying, and high in demand. So even without coding experience, you can get into business analysis and also data analysis. So if you're already in technology, I would go the Python data analyst route. If you don't have technology, I would go the business analyst route, or if you're a very organized person, the project management route, product manager. And there are other roles also, like product architect and product engineers, which sound very technical, but are not necessarily very technical roles. And they will take you if you have a finance background. I'm a sociology major myself, and I still ended up there. Although granted, I live in New York, which is finance center, but it's very much. And now, thankfully, because of remote work, you don't have to live in New York. You can live absolutely anywhere and just upskill to have the business analysis courses and certifications. I never got them myself, but it was a different world then. But now there are some certifications that can help you.
Thank you so much. So that answers the questions for Anjuri and Masiwerimu and Betty. So if you need more clarification or more support, you can see Mr. Karanja G and then move on. Grace.
Are you unable to say the last name? Is that why you call it G?
No, I don't know the last name.
It's Gashisha.
Your name appears as Karanja G.
I see. Gotcha.
Okay, yes. Thank you. Grace, you can take us to the next session. Thank you so much.
Thank you for that. Let's move on to the most asked question. I've been looking through the chat and I've noticed a lot of people asking about job opportunities, career paths. So we have two people who can demystify that for us. David and Masharia. Karibuni. David?
Maybe Masharia can start.
Okay,
All right.
Macharia, go ahead.
Yes, good evening, everyone. You'll forgive me because of my camera, because of where I am. And I want to take a few minutes. Can I share my screen? Can I be able to share my screen?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
go ahead.
All right. Okay. Yes, maybe a bit of my background because of time. My name is Gabriel Macharia. I work at AATF. That's why I've just used my logo in my presentation, just to make it more visible to those people who might like to maybe follow me in various platforms. A bit of my background. I have a BSc in Mathematics and Computer Science, and also I hold a Master's in Biomathematics. Professionally, I'm a data scientist in institution called AATF, where we support 24 countries. So I support 24 countries and that in project because we support small scale farmers in terms of transfer of technology, like rare seeds, varieties. Let's talk about mechanization. We offer tools like tractors to farmers. We give them, of course, not for free, but at a low price, at a cheaper price where they can be able to afford it. And we have been in existence for the last 20 years. So I joined this organization last year. I've been working at Stradmo as a tutor and also as a data scientist. Now, I was tasked to talk about my journey as a career path in this case. And mostly I'll talk in the areas that I'm more conversant with, which is data science. And I want to echo most of the statement made by Dr. Is it Mercy or something of the sort? I don't know how to pronounce it.
Depend on where you are. If you're in America, you say Morsi.
It's Mercy in Kenya. Yeah, so technically, he has mentioned quite a number of things that as a starter or as a beginner, you can be able to learn from the institution. But now I want to talk for the starters, the beginners, not the gurus, not the senior chiefs here. I'm talking for the young ones who like maybe to pursue the career of data science and they don't know where to start. Maybe you're in business, you want to shift from being a commerce or let's say somebody who can be able to do in accounting, but you want to come into data analytics. But data science is quite big. It's a profession which is, when we talk of data science, it's a collaboration. It's a component that harbors data analytics, what do you call them? Data migrations specialists, those guys who work in cloud computing, a lot of stuff. Now, how do we learn, the path of data science from scratch? And there's something that is so many people are going through a lot. They don't know how to answer this kind of questions because they don't know where to start. And I just thought maybe I can share some insight which can be able to help them, build from something. So number one, you need to have like a strong foundation in statistics and math. And I believe if you have gone through undergraduate, there are some basics, mathematics and statistics that were being taught in first years and second years. They're called the fundamentals. You learn about probability and statistics, calculus, and something of the sort. And now, after gaining some statistical background, and I would like maybe to recommend you can maybe learn something to do with test of hypothesis, which is mainly used in analysis in this case. Now we dive into what we call programming with Python and R. One of the key things about Python and R, they are open source and they are free languages. Actually, you can just learn from anywhere. You don't have to, like pay thousands of dollars to go to a school. You can just teach yourself either through YouTube, through some platforms like Kaggle, which I'll mention later, where you can be able to get maybe free data science projects just to, train yourself in that various areas. And then after that, after you learn about Python and R, you go to familiarize yourself with the databases. Database is mainly a platform whereby you can be able to fetch your data and of course upload after you work through your project in this case. And some of the database that we have is structured query language, which is called the SQL. But I believe as a beginner, yes, you can have the basics, but it's not quite important, like for you to know much about database. We leave that to database administrator. just learn a few techniques here and there, the kind of database, how to create tables, update table, delete, and something of the sort. After that, we go to the analysis method, which is the key point or key area as a data analyst in this case. We have various method analysis like what we call linear regressions analysis. We have what we call clustering and something of the sort. But just get to have an understanding of how they operate, because various data demands different types of analysis, and therefore you just only have to have an understanding, how do I connect this type of data with the kind of analysis that is being needed. So just have some basics, how to connect the programmatic analytical methods with the kind of project that you're working on, because different organization demands different output. From there, the next step is to learn, love, and practice and repeat. This I'm talking about now, practicing. You get some what you call pseudo project from the Google. You get some metadata. You get some data in the online platform like Cargo. They have some what you call training projects. You can get there for free. It is open source. Train yourself, familiarize yourself with what you have learned in the past and something of the sort. So just you can be able to build some confidence in it. Therefore, after that, now you go to use some tools. We have different types of tools that we use, like, for example, in AATF, I use Python, that is Jupyter Notebook, for most of my analysis. And of course, the R program, basically to do what we call quantitative analysis. And I believe that the other tools like Tableaus and Power BI for visualization, we have SPSS and Stata, of course. Still, you can be able to familiarize yourself and learn how they operate in different types of data sets in this case. After that, let's now go to work on data science project. Now, after you feel that confidence enough, like, I can be able to interpret data. If someone gives you a certain data, I'm able to understand how do I connect this data with the type of the analysis that is required by maybe as so and something of the sort. Now, work on real projects now in this case. Maybe you can even join like a school whereby maybe they are teaching data science just to build up that capacity. Like you have fundamental knowledge. You have fundamental understanding that will help you now to move faster, because the most important thing is to have some basics in this case. After that, now, try to build, stories in data. You have a LinkedIn account, communicate, talk about data. Tell us something that you're passionate about. What did you learn last week? What are you planning to learn next week? What is your roadmap to becoming a data science? So you see, now you are building something that you are becoming, and when you're passionate about something, of course, you grow faster at the end of the day. And then after that, this is the best platform that we are talking about now, the Kenya US, forum, where you can be able to network with those guys who are in data science like myself. Come to me, ask me questions, ask me where maybe I can be able to volunteer myself. Maybe perhaps you are in Kenya. We have some organization in Africa who are looking for data scientists, where maybe they can be able to teach you a few things here and there as long as you're available. And maybe they're looking for remote data analysts. Try to network with those people who have got higher rank up there, who can be able, to open up a platform for you. And of course, last but not the least, continue learning, because every day I say it is a learning day. So basically here I have a small picture, sorry, before I go to my last slide. I had a small picture of how you can be able maybe to start. You can start with maybe learning Python, and now I just have said, learn some few statistical methods and analysis, like, like the way I've mentioned analysis methods. Like, learn some basic calculus, integrations and differentiations here and there. Build your communication skill, because of course, if you cannot be able to communicate what the data says, then you cannot be able to give insights in what you're trying to analyze at the end of the day. Then after that, go to data cleaning, of course, in the 30th day, data visualization, like I've just mentioned, Power BI, Tableaus and some other platform, because of course, even Python has got that capability of data visualization as well. Now, after now you have mastered, let's go now to machine learning and AI, definitely. But these are far end. After now you have understood critically what is needed in your area as well. Lastly, start now creating some pseudo project, push them in the GitHub. Let you have some portfolio whereby you can be able to showcase to the recruiter if at all he asks you what you have built in the past. Like for myself, when I'm looking for interns, I have to ask them, do you have a GitHub account? Send me the link, something of the sort. So therefore, the last one is keep on learning, and I believe you're going to get to your utmost desires. Thank you guys. maybe there's some question or something of the sort, maybe I can be able to answer.
Thank you, and thank you for moderating. Sorry, Grace. So thank you so much, Karanja. I mean, not Karanja. Masharia, for what you're doing and even trying to help people who are not able to join the group. And I think we'll need your services at one point. Thank you.
Thanks, Anna. Thank you.
So, Grace, I think we may want to go to the next person, David, if he's here.
Is David in? David, the floor is yours. You can unmute yourself. And David, I don't think he's in. So
yeah, we can proceed to the next person.
Which is also a question that was asked earlier about policy and regulation surrounding tech. So Danson and Danish will be taking us through this. So Danson or Danish, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you so much, Grace. My name is Danson Nkile. I live here in Dallas, Texas, in the United States. Basically, some of the things have already been mentioned, but most of us, we are so innovative. We want to sell our products there. We want to look for opportunities, but we forget that also we have policies and regulations that govern our operations. Most of the time we go to school, you're just excited. They have this idea, I want to do coding, I want to do analytics. But little do you know that sometimes, or most of the time, we have the rules that govern what we do. So when you look at what is happening with the AI, most of the countries, and before I go to that part, my friends have been asking me this question: how come, Danson, American companies always prefer to hire Indians? Like, you have meetings, you just find, oh, these guys even don't know how to speak maybe correct English, but they're always there. Every industry, especially IT world. But in 1934, there was an act that was established by Indian and American company, which was later amended to be Title VII in 1975 or 74 there. So they gave preference that all American companies, they prefer to hire Indians. So meaning they give them preference over other countries. So that is a policy that was adopted all the way from the federal government of US to the states. And that is why you'll find that all those companies, you'll try to look for opportunities or you're working with, there are so many Indians. So how can you also leverage on that as Kenya so that we can bring our people on board, like the way India has done, so that we speak good English. We can't compare English with the Indian community. It's not discriminatory, but it's a fact. We speak good English over them. So now with this, it comes in with the policy, because what the federal government of the US will look for will be like, what are some of the laws that you have passed? What are some of the policies? What are some of the regulations that protect our companies or our integrity as a country? And with this, I had Shiko mentioning about the State Department for Diaspora, of which I've also been part of it from its inception. It started actually in 2020 and had the conversation all through until it was formed by the president. And one of its function actually is technology transfer, meaning we as here, we can also be part of the team that is developing policies and regulations that will govern our operations. We are looking at those, we want our companies here in the US to work directly with our people in Kenya, but you have data privacy. Some companies, for example, I didn't even mention where I work. I work in the aviation industry as a technology, most specifically is data engineering with one of the American airline. So they focus on data privacy. It's very critical to protect their data. But they look at this country that we want now to bring in to outsource. What are some of the things that they have put into practice? I understand that in Kenya now we have the Data Protection Act, of which you have the commissioner, but there are a lot of gaps on that Data Protection Act. If you compare to what the US, for example, the UK is looking for, there's a lot of gaps. So we come in as the policymakers, as much as we want to sell our products, we want to make money, but you also have to look at the sanctity of what we are doing. So With this, I just want to let you know that, guys, as we work on this, let us also be looking at some of the regulations specifically for these specific countries. For instance, in July, is it June or July? The UK government and the US government, they did what we call the Declaration Act, yeah? The Atlantic Declaration Act. This one now protects because the UK came out of the EU, and now because of coming out of the EU, the American companies felt that their privacy is jeopardized. So they had to come up with another policy to protect the American companies that operate in the UK and the US. Now they have that one established. As a country, as we bring all this, as we do research, as Dr. Musa has done, as we develop all these wonderful ideas, how can we make it that we harmonize together with other countries as well? We have this Silicon Savannah that is coming up. Can we also be part of the conversation to develop these policies and also the regulations so that the policy that is passed doesn't make the companies that we work with, have issues with? If they're passing a policy in Kenya and you feel that you want to take your company, you want to take it back home, but your customers are in the US or in Canada, they'll be like, no, we want also, how about your laws? So my mention today is just like a brief to say that as we work together, I want you guys also to be part of the conversation, that we can legislate, we can be part of the team that talks about these laws. If you want to protect your code, if you want to protect your patent, yeah, can we also utilize this office that have been set up by the Diaspora State Department about technology transfer so that we can protect ourselves from the rest of the world? And also look at what the other countries are looking. Can we be able to work with them in terms of technology? Are you able to develop an app that can be used conveniently in China? Can we develop a product that can be sold in South Korea? So some of these things, as much as the coding is the same, the structure is the same, but the policies that we put in actually influence a lot. So just in a summary, I want us also to invite you that let us be part of the decisions that make these laws and developing these policies in our government and private institutions. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Danson. Basically, what Danson is saying is be proactive in understanding what the government is doing in your sector. Is Danish in the house? Okay, if Danish is not in the house,
Danish is here.
Present.
Oh, Danish is okay. Go ahead, Danish.
Good morning and good evening, depending on where you are in the part of the world. Okay, my name is Danish Rayola. I'm a lawyer by training, and my main domain right now and the specialization is in cyber security and data privacy. So I'm going to tackle something briefly, and my colleague there, Danson, has already mentioned some of them. And for the sake of not appearing as repetitive, I'll try and actually go just through a quick summary. Why do we have policies and why do we have regulations in tech? I think we usually have policies and regulations in tech mainly because at times we need to protect the local industries and the locally bred technology. And when you're talking about protection of the local industries and locally bred technology, this one is basically interlinked with the IPs and the knowledge and technology transfer. You find that the government is always trying to protect the local industries, whereby before technology is moved outside the country, then we also need to have good frameworks before they exit. And then also protection against anti-monopoly and the market regulations. We need to have a market where the dominant players do not actually take advantage of the market. And here, whereby the government comes in, we see that it actually levies huge fines usually. And then also we talk about what is it that when you talk about regulations, do we need to have this regulation as self-regulation where the industry is regulating itself, or do we have a government regulating the industry, or a hybrid what is it that works best for us? So do we need the tech industry to self-regulate itself, or do we need to have the government actually regulate it, the tech industry, or do we need a hybrid? Those are some of the questions which we'll need to ask. But when we talk about also issues of the data protection, this is something that is very critical in terms of the national security and the public interest. In the UK, you have the GDPR, that's the General Data Protection Regulation, and then here in the US, we have the some states which are very far, like in California, we have the California Consumer Privacy Act. Kenya has the Kenya Data Protection Act. These are some of the regulations which are in place to ensure that some critical data or even abuse of this technology does not take place. And also, we need to protect some vulnerable people in the society, more so children. So when you talk about protection of children, I'll give an example. In the US, you have the COPPA, that the Children Online Privacy Protection Act. These are some of the acts which tend to make sure that some specific groups which are vulnerable get protection. And then you also need to look at and see what is it that is being protected. Why do you have to protect, to regulate technology? There's some people who, when given a leeway, will use that technology and abuse it, not use it for the benefit of the people. So this one brings in the issue of ethical use of technology. And somebody actually mentioned in why is that you need to have a maybe license before you can use a drone. A good example is in matters of national security and actually to combat even terrorism. A drone can be used beneficially, yes, but it can also be used against the human beings when it comes to public safety. So these are some of the things which we'll need to look into. And then what you also need to look into when we talk about regulation of tech, we look at it, does regulation actually stifle innovation? Does it encourage use and adaptation of new technologies? Does it actually enhance ethical application on its usage? Or a good example, I actually like giving examples of the US because the other day, Biden actually signed a regulation that, in fact, it's a public order that regulates and has an impact on how AI is going to be used. So when we talk about regulation in tech, we should be in the forefront to ensure that the global best practices in regulation of tech are adopted. That is regulation that ensures that tech is safe, tech is ethical, and tech is used for the best use of it, use of the human race, and to ensure that regulation does not stifle innovation and creativity. So that's basically it.
Thank you, Danish. You've really given us a comprehensive look at what policies and regulations mean to us when we're actually doing our work. I think we've come to the end of this session. I'll hand over to Mak'Ouma to take us to the next part of this.
Thank you so much, Grace. For the next 20 minutes or so, we should be able to wind up this meeting. Like I indicated earlier, this meeting is a meeting to familiarize ourselves, to know each other, to brainstorm, to make sure that we're moving forward as a team. So I just want to give you a background of what led us to this point. So slightly over 4 months ago, I have been here in US for some time. I run data analytics company. We train people. And then I saw there is a need to bring people like you, like me, like your friends out there together. In my journey, I went to attend one of the forum for UNA. UNA is Uganda people living in US and Canada. And at that point, I was in a mission of fact-finding. One of the people I met, I see Elvis Omboto. It just reminded me of the photo that he took when there were two of us with other people and shared with me. In this group, I think I have met less people than people I've not met in this group. And I'm happy that today, at least I have seen some faces that if it was this forum, it would not be possible for me to meet you. People like you, I've also seen my face, the mind behind tough rules in the WhatsApp group. And I want to promise that we're not going to accept anything less than what's expected for us to move as a team. In that note, I know Wangeshi and Frida, I'm not sure whether I will give you a minute just to see if among the questions you guys are asking, if there's one that you need to address. And then I will go to the next session of Q&A. I know Philip, he wants to share something. I know Elvis wants to share something. So please, because of time, we have to finish in the next 20 minutes. So I'll give each of you a minute. So let's start with Elvis.
Thank you so much, Mark or Geoffrey, actually, for putting this together. I was happy to see you at that UNA event and talk of networking. This is exactly what it does. I'm in the same space as you are, and I'm so excited that you're changing and impacting people's lives through the transition into IT. I personally got into this through my Indian brothers and sisters, and unfortunately, so why didn't I get this from my own brothers and sisters? Also, from Africa who are here in the US. I'm saying we need to do a better job. Exactly what you're doing right now. Exactly what everybody on this forum is doing. It's bringing that awareness, realizing that we can create these opportunities. Our Indian brothers and sisters have a lot of agencies that are hiring people from back in India. So I started EPCO Consulting. I've started, I've helped 83 people get hired into the IT space so far. One of them recently from Nairobi, with a good salary of 250,000 per month for the Nairobi hire, 250,000 Kenyan shillings. And this is in the data analytics, data engineering space as well. But I'm excited because in my coaching and mentoring, I've realized that we have so many barriers to our success just beyond the skills themselves. I don't want to repeat what has been said here, but I just want to hit on one item that is so important that is, in my experience, is making a lot of people not get jobs. And this is the emotional intelligence aspect. We have the IQ, we have the TQ, the technical aspect, but the EQ, some of us lack that. And not knowing how to relate and work with our peers is a big barrier that I've found. And I've had in interviews like, hey, we can train the skills, but we can't train personality. And so it's important, like I had a meeting recently with some of people, friends of mine studying an AI thing in Nairobi. They're in a meeting with prospective clients here in the US. The Americans are on camera, and they're not on. There's only one out of those three people that are on camera. That means it means that you didn't plan ahead for this meeting. You didn't. You don't really care. You have these big clients here, and one of them was joining from their phone. And so what my advice for them is dress nice, be ready. When this opportunity comes, you want to hit it. Some opportunities only knock once. So I want to just remind all of us not to forget the emotional intelligence aspect, because we can have all the skills and still not get the job if we don't relate well. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So Philip, 1 minute.
Thanks so much, Mark. And for me, we'll be very, very brief. My question is, how do we document all this evolution of technology. I think I had earlier different speakers, I think from Chico. I wasn't taking keen on the names. So how, as a country, 60 years on, how are we documenting our journey, especially on the evolution of tech? I've just been doing research for the last 1 year, and when you look at our historical patterns, we are kind of repeating the same things which happens in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. Nobody's documenting our journey. Nobody's documenting our history. As the first adopters of the digital space and the early adopters of AI, what are we doing to ensure we have ecosystems which can not only support government, complement government? Because for me, I speak from hands-on, and being on the front line for the last decade or two has given me an opportunity to see how government has evolved, especially in emergency response communication, how the UN has evolved, especially in crisis communication, the Red Cross. But in terms of the tech world, are we adapting, or are we incubating solutions with the mind of creating a bigger solution for the country, for Africa? And for me, I feel like in the AI spectrum, there's a lot of shift, especially in technological advancements. But when you look at it from an emergency response, do we have an ecosystem where if I need blood, how do we use AI? In case of a crisis, how do we use AI? And then do we have an AI authority which can bring together all these thought leaders? Because there's a lot of meetings, a lot of workshops, a lot of seminars which are all done in silos. Can we have an authority which kind of checks and see duplications and checks and sees how can we complement hospitals? How can we complement the counties? How can we complement historical storytelling? How can we bring together each and every generation? Right now, we have about 7 generations in the country. How are we documenting the journey using AI? Those are the questions which are still grappling with. But I love the forum and good interactions. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you so much, Philip. So Wangeshi and Frida.
Yes, hello, we're here.
Yep.
All right, so we're just going to get back to last remarks about any particular any of the questions that we had asked, if that's okay with you, Mark.
Yeah, it's okay.
All right, so just to top it off, first we're going to be having survey questions, a survey form that we're going to send out in a few shortly, so that you can kind of tell us and kind of give us feedback about how your experience in this Zoom meeting was, what you would like, and also to tell us your expectations for both. What were your expectations for this meeting? What will be your expectations for the next meeting that we have come January, right? So just expect that right now in your inbox. But for now, I would like to just call upon anybody who would like to answer, what tech forum, social media pages are you following? Like, what can you put us on? What can we know? I'll start that myself. So one thing that I found that was used in this community here that I didn't think about earlier. Sorry, let me just have that. Yeah. So one thing that I realized was used here and was not used at home is servers on Mastodon. So I know we've had Discord servers, and I know there's also Clubhouse initially, but if you want an effective way, I think that has been effective for me, use the Mastodon social media service. It works just like Discord, and there's a lot of tech-oriented information there. There's a lot of tech experts there. And it's unlike LinkedIn, people are not closed off. Ask anything. You want to ask how to transform your whole house into a smart network, ask anything you want. I recently, yesterday actually, is when I was checking for African Mastodon servers, and they're not there. We do not have rooms where we are talking about them. And these are excellent opportunities where tech gurus from everywhere are currently on, and there are specialized servers. So for example, I'm in systems architecture. And so you will find that it becomes a whole social media server for systems architecture, everything. It's like having Facebook for systems. And for me, that's super exciting. Whether you're in front-end development, you will find a server that's fully for front-end development. You connect with everybody from there. So while it would take a lot of steps before we have one for Kenya, for Kenya particularly, I would highly advocate for everybody to kind of share the link for servers. All right, I will share the link for that right now. And for my favorite servers, I'll put it down on the chat right now. But for anyone else, please take the floor and tell us what you can put us on today.
Awesome.
Go ahead, Titus. Oh, sorry, Frida.
Hi, everybody. I'll be quick. Titus Karaoke, Data Analytics Business Analyst at BNY Mellon, and Mbuzia Nesby, aka the Goat of Nesby. Story for another day. To answer your question, Wangeshi, number 9, tech forums. First of all, I highly recommend National Society of Black Engineers here in the United States, all about Black people in tech, empowerment, STEM, DEI. You have opportunities, again, tech developments, AI, engineering, name it. Again, story for another day. Tech guru, somebody I really love personally. He's called Anthony D. Mays. Anthony D. Mays. I'll type the name in the chat, but basically, he's a tech evangelist. He helps people get jobs in tech and computer science, software engineering, programming, coding, analysis, etc. My guy literally was born in Compton, California, kule hivyo kwa Kendrick Lamar. He started coding when he was 7. He applied to Google for like 7 times. The first 6 times, he doubted himself, but he could have gotten in at least 5 of those 6 times. Anyway, got into Google 7 times, senior software engineer over there. He just left last year and is probably the next big Black figure in tech and evangelism. So Anthony Mays, highly recommend him. And obviously bigger tech, Marcus Brownlee on YouTube. I'll pause there. Thank you.
Should be the next one after him.
Ndo hiyo sasa.
Yeah, Frida, because of time, Wangeshi, so that you can finish in the next 1 minute.
All right, great. So let me forward, I want to just forward the link to have the conversation, to have the feedback form. Just give me 1 minute, please. Copy. All right, great. Chat. Where has chat disappeared today?
As Wangeshi is trying to share the link, I just want to appreciate everyone for your participation, for the resources that you've shared on the link, on the chat, and we will follow up. And once we get your responses to the survey questions, we'll be able to share with you the results and also to be able to help you get the resources, connect with the people that you want to connect with. And as always, the WhatsApp group is open for also continuing networking, sharing resources, but of course, adhere to the rules. They're not there to punish you. They're there so that we can be efficient and just get the best out of the group. You don't want it to be the groups where everything goes. You want it to be a group where you feel like I can come here, I can ask a specific question, target into a specific niche, and get the answer that I want. But also we were told that we should not be looking for niches, we should be the niche. Okay, awesome. I see.
All right. Let me see. Yes, I've put up the forms. I have put up the forms, everybody. So my last remarks for today. Thank you so much for such thank you so much for participating, being here. We've had wise words from everybody. Our audience is clearly well informed and very ready to share. Please feel free to reach out. For myself, on any platform, LinkedIn, I always go with the name Wangeshi Moremi. Wherever you will find that name. Please do feel free to link up. Yes, and I will hope to see you for January's time. Otherwise, I can let everyone else say their goodbye.
Yeah, just one more thing before we finish. That form, you've given the instruction how it's going to be given to you, sent back to you, right?
It's an automatic form. Once they fill in the responses, I'll get the responses.
So yeah, so just to say big thank you so much for everyone. You guys have done a wonderful. The gentleman who just spoke here talked about some Black guy, the next big thing, right? I really like him. I really like what he said. I really like what everyone has said today. You've been here for the last over 1.5 hours, putting these things together, trying to share ideas. Whatever you have, don't keep it to yourself. Share. Let people come to you. Let people share what you have. Okay. Because of time, I wish everyone would have gotten a chance to speak, but because of time, we have to end in the next 1 minute, unless there's something so burning. You'll allow me to move to the last closing remarks. Just 1 second. If there's something that's so burning that you have to say it now. Okay, good people. You guys are good. Now, let me finish this. I'll end this this forum. So actually, this, like I said initially, it's not the main event that we planned. This was just like a groundbreaking meeting, right? Which is structured kind of. And I thank you for being participative and being here through that time. Watch out for the communication for the January webinar. It's going to be a great one. Women in Tech. I think you guys should be happy because we are going to be with you. I'm going to share how you're able to get to tech, how your peers or your fellow ladies can get to tech. Till we meet again, God bless you. Have a good night, good day, good morning, everyone. Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.